Hey guys, so I know y'all know that that my dad had a stroke if you watched the previous video, but I wanted to do a quick video telling you guys exactly what happened from the day that I found out up until now. As you can see, we're in a hotel right now where it's me and TJ, he's with me now. We're in Maryland. It's about it's supposed to take like 2.5 hours to get here, but with DC traffic and stuff, it takes us like 4 hours. And I've been back and forth since Friday, and today is Wednesday, May 17th. So Friday, the Friday before Mother's Day, I was at home, and my dad or somebody texted me from my dad's number and said I passed out. I don't know if it was my dad or if it was like his friend. It said I passed out, and then I text back and I'm just like, what do you mean you passed out? Like, why didn't you call, or why didn't you text? Like, what's going on? And then like shortly after that, like before I even could really send the text, I got a phone call from his coworker saying that my dad was in the hospital and he had a stroke, and he told me that, you know, he was okay. But, you know, just hearing that, it's just like what do you mean he had a stroke? If you've been watching our videos for a while, and you've seen some vlogs of my dad in the videos, you guys know that, or you can tell that he's like he's a fit and healthy guy. Like, he's done bodybuilding shows, he's really healthy, he just is really fit, and he's young, he's only 52. So to hear that, it's just like, what do you mean he had a stroke? So me and TJ packed up, dropped the kids off at my mom's house, and we rode down here to Maryland to the hospital. He was at one hospital. I won't mention the hospital names. Well, I think y'all might know the first hospital. He was at Baltimore Washington Medical Center. He was there. So we got there, and he was talking to me like normal and everything. We were having regular conversations. He was sitting up in the bed. He told me like what happened. He was good. He was, you know, just talking to me. The only thing was that he couldn't feel the right side of his body. He could move his arm a little bit, but he couldn't move his hand at all. Like, he said everything was just numb and he just could not feel it. So we got there around 9 or 10 p.m. I think. And then we left around midnight. So like I said, we were talking we were just having regular conversation. And I had to leave because I had things to do that next day, but I was gonna come back the next day. We didn't record, we recorded like us going in, but we didn't record him. But I kind of wish that we did now. So the next day, I think that's Saturday, me and my mom rode back up here with me. TJ had the kids. He was gonna watch them for a little bit, and we just planned to go there for the day and then come back. So I texted him when we got home. That was around 3 a.m. I texted him, I said, I love you, and I told him that I was like, you're gonna be okay. The doctors are gonna get you some answers, and you're gonna be all right. And he texted me back and said, I love you, and he said, you know, thank you, I'm glad you made it home safely. So the next day, I didn't text him and tell him that I was coming because I wanted to surprise him. I picked him up some food and some snacks because I thought he was responsive, you know, like he was the previous day. I'm trying not to cry. So we get there, my mom and I get there, and he's not responsive anymore like he was the previous day. I asked the doctors. I saw him sleeping, and I asked the doctors if he was like, if he was under anesthesia or if he was just like taking a nap. And the doctors told me that he just wasn't responsive, that around 3:45 a.m. his symptoms had gotten worse, and that his stroke was actually bigger than what they thought. And so they decided to transfer him to another hospital that that specializes in neurology, because they can better help him there than they could at that hospital. So they transported him from there to the other hospital. We got there around 3 p.m. and when we got there, we were under the impression that they were going to do a CT scan like as soon as we got there, because that's what they told us. But they hadn't done it before we left. Like, well, we got there at 3 p.m. and we stayed there until 9 p.m. because that's when visitation ends. So me and my mom, we decided to stay the night. We didn't have any clothes or anything because, like I said, I thought we were just gonna go there for the day, spend the day with him, and then go home, because I thought he was, better than what he was. So we got a hotel, and then the next morning we went back up there. And by this time, my little brother, and his mom had gotten here too. And they had saw him the previous day too. So Sunday morning, Mother's Day, we go back up to the hospital, and when we got there, it felt like a movie. So we got there and we're walking to his room, and when we get there, I need tissue. When we get there, my dad is having a seizure. My dad is having a seizure in the bed, and doctors and nurses are rushing into his room and, like, I don't know, hooking him up and, like, putting oxygen masks and stuff on his face, and he's just, like, shaking, and I'm just, like, looking at him, what's going on. And then they kind of, like, take me to, like, another room, and I'm, like, crying and just, not really understanding what's going on. So then a neurology surgeon comes in, and she tells me that they have to do surgery on him because his brain is swelling. The left side of his brain is swelling, and if they don't do surgery, then it could do more damage than what's done already. So what they did is that they took the left part of his skull off, because if they would have left it on, then the brain would swell and there would be nowhere for the brain to go, and it would, like, push, I guess, on the other side and cause more damage. So they removed his left frontal of his skull. So she comes in and she tells me that they're getting ready to do that, and that I have to sign consent and all that stuff for him. And I asked, can I go see him before they take him back? So then I go back in there and I give him a hug before they roll him back, and then they take him back. And this was all literally within 5 minutes of us getting to the hospital. So then I'm just sitting in a little waiting room with my mom and my brother and his mom, and we're just sitting there in a little room. There's no TV, there's no, like, music, there's nothing. Like, it's just a little room, and I'm just staring at the door for 3 hours, like, just waiting and anxiously. Like, every little foot that walked past the door, like, my heart would beat really fast, just, because I'm just waiting for somebody to come in and tell me how the surgery went. So 3 hours pass, and a nurse comes in and they tell me that he's back in his room and that the surgery went okay. And so we go back in the room, and he's got a scar, or an incision, from here to the back of his head to here. It's like a C. And, you know, we go in there, obviously he's not responsive. He's on a breathing machine, and yeah, that was about it. That was, yeah, Mother's Day. So prior to that, I think the day before that, when he wasn't responsive, he was semi-responsive to where I could hold his hand and I could tell him, you know, Dad, can you squeeze my hand? Or Dad, can you move your toes? And he would do it every so often. The day he had his surgery, he didn't have that. The next day, I think we left on Sunday and I came back. Me and TJ came back on Monday. And when we came back, his eye, the left side of his face was like swollen from the surgery, and he didn't even look like my dad to me. From it was just, yeah. And every time I come back, I just have this like scene in my head of how it's gonna go. Like, I just wish that every time I come in, he's gonna be sitting up in bed and, like, you know, be able to greet me when I get there. So it's really hard when I come and every time he looks different. But the next day when we came, Tuesday, the swelling had gone down a lot, which is good. That was yesterday. We did some. We still talked to him, and because the nurses say that he can hear me, which I think that he can, because sometimes, like I said, he still does move his foot or his hand or squeezes my hand on command, but not every time. Like I said, it's just not consistent. Today is Wednesday, and visiting hours haven't started yet, so that's why I wanted to come in here and tell you guys everything that happened. What else? What did I leave out? Oh, so the reasoning. The doctor came in yesterday and told me that they did the CT scan, and they saw that there was a clot in an artery in his neck, which caused there to not be to block oxygen going to his brain, which caused a stroke. Now, they don't know how he got that clot. It could be a number of reasons. It could be hereditary, which we don't think it is. The doctors don't think it is either. It could be health related, and they definitely don't think that's what it is, because my dad was super healthy, young and fit. One of the doctors told me that going to like a chiropractor, that could be a reason, because like the movements that they do on your neck could kind of shift things, which can cause clots and things. And the doctor said that that's probably like high on her list of one of the reasons that it happened, because he did have back and neck issues where he did go to like a chiropractor and stuff like that. But we just really won't know. But we know that that is the reason, and with that they'll give him medicine to help prevent clots and things, to prevent it from happening again. That's pretty much it. I think that's it. Yeah, now it's just like a waiting game. We're just waiting to see how he's going to recover, There's no real timeline on this. Every person's different. But with his I had to talk fast if I was about to die. With his surgery, with his stroke, it affected the left side or the right side? The left side of his brain. So the left side of the brain controls verbal ability, and it controls the right side of you. So he will struggle with the right side. He would have to relearn how to use the right side and relearn how to speak. And we don't really know the severity of the long-term effects until they do an MRI. Hopefully they did that last night and we can find out the results today. But I just want to thank all of you guys for praying for him. If you're following me on Instagram, and I know you guys probably saw the previous video, and I ask that you guys just continue to keep him in your prayers and stuff. And we're gonna head up there now, and you could follow my Instagram for more updates and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys.